Backstage, nobody looked at him. A middle-aged man, guitar case in hand. Then he walked on stage and played the first riff. Everyone knew. The venue was called the Stone Pony Annex Small Club in Asbury Park, New Jersey. 300 capacity. Maybe 250 showed up that night. It was a Tuesday, February 2019. Cold outside. The kind of night where tribute bands play to half-empty rooms and everyone goes home early. The band was called Strutter. Kiss Tribute. They'd been doing it for 6 years, full makeup, costumes, the pyro they could afford, playing Detroit Rock City and Rock and Roll All Night for crowds who remembered when those songs meant something. They were good. Not great. Good enough for a Tuesday night in Jersey. The lead guitarist, kid named Marcus Chen, 28 years old, wore the Spaceman makeup. Ace Frehley's role. He'd studied every solo, every bend note, every signature run. He had the moves down. The poses. The attitude. He was a very good copy. At 8:47 p.m., during their second set, Marcus was halfway through the Shock Me solo when he noticed someone standing in the stage right wing. Just standing there. Older guy. Gray hair past his shoulders. Jeans. Black t-shirt. Guitar case. Marcus didn't think much of it. Venues always had people wandering around. Friends of the sound man. Somebody's uncle. Random dudes who used to play in bands 30 years ago and couldn't let it go. The guy just stood there. Watching. Not moving. Marcus finished the solo. The crowd, maybe 150 people actually paying attention, clapped politely. The band launched into Love Gun. Marcus hit his marks. The drummer kept time. The Paul Stanley guy did the between-song banter. Everything was exactly as it should be. During the break between sets, Marcus walked off stage to grab water. The older guy was still there in the wing, sitting on an equipment case now, guitar case leaning against his leg. Marcus nodded. Basic acknowledgement. The guy nodded back. You sound good, the older guy said. Voice rough. Smoker's voice. Thanks, Marcus said, not really listening, already thinking about the third set. You learned Ace's parts well. Marcus stopped. Turned. You know the material? The guy smiled slightly. Yeah. I know it. You play? Used to. Marcus waited for more. Nothing came. The guy just sat there, that small smile, not offering anything else. Cool, Marcus said finally, and walked back toward the dressing room. The bass player, Tommy something, was eating a sandwich. Who's the old dude out there? No idea, Marcus said. Just some guy. Ace didn't defend himself. He never did. What Marcus didn't know, what nobody in that venue knew except maybe the sound man who'd recognized him and said nothing, was that Ace Frehley lived 40 minutes away. He'd seen the show listing online. Strutter. Kiss Tribute. The Stone Pony Annex. He hadn't been to a tribute show in years. Didn't really like them. Too much nostalgia. Too much performance of a performance. But something about the venue name caught his attention. He'd played the original Stone Pony back in '74, before Kiss exploded, when they were still scraping by in clubs this size. He'd grabbed his Les Paul, the '59 Sunburst he'd been playing for 45 years, and driven down. No plan. No announcement. Just curiosity. He'd arrived during the second set. Paid the cover at the door. $20. The kid working the door didn't recognize him. Why would he? No makeup. No costume. Just an older guy with gray hair wanting to see a Kiss tribute band on a Tuesday night. Ace had watched from the back for 3 songs. The band was competent. The Spaceman guitarist had clearly done his homework. He had the technique. The moves were right. But something was missing. Ace couldn't quite name it. Maybe it was the way Marcus played the Shock Me solo. Perfectly, technically correct, every note exactly where Ace had put it in 1977. But perfect and right weren't the same thing. The solo had been written in pain, in exhaustion, in the middle of a tour that was killing them all. You couldn't copy that. You could only live it. After the second set ended, Ace had moved to the stage wing. He just wanted to see the gear up close. The amps. The setup. The way tribute bands tried to recreate something that couldn't really be recreated. Marcus had walked right past him. Barely looked at him. Ace understood. Why would he? Ace Frehley without the makeup, without the costume, without the context. He was just some old guy hanging around backstage at a bar in Jersey. Subscribe and leave a comment, because some moments only make sense when we remember them together. The third set started at 10:15 p.m. The band came back out. Fresh makeup touch-ups. The Paul Stanley guy did his crowd work. Who's ready to rock and roll all night? The crowd, dwindling now, maybe 100 people left, cheered dutifully. They opened with Deuce. Then, Calling Dr. Love. The energy was good. Marcus was nailing the parts. The rhythm section was tight. Ace was still standing in the wing, just watching. The bass player noticed him during Calling Dr. Love, leaned over to the drummer during a break, pointed with his head towards stage right. The drummer glanced over, shrugged. Just some old dude. They finished the song. The Paul Stanley guy wiped his face with a towel. We've got something special for you tonight, he said to the crowd. We're gonna do a deep cut. One of the Spaceman's best. This is Fractured Mirror. Fractured Mirror. The instrumental. Ace's song. The one he'd written alone, the one that didn't need lyrics because the guitar said everything. Marcus stepped forward, adjusted his Les Paul copy, took a breath, and Ace Frehley walked onto the stage. Not running. Not announcing himself. Just walked out from the wing, his real Les Paul in hand, and plugged into the backup amp sitting stage right. The crowd didn't notice at first. Just another guy on stage. Maybe a guest. Maybe somebody's friend joining in. Marcus was 3 measures into Fractured Mirror when he heard it. A second guitar. Playing harmony. Not copying him. Not following him. Playing the parts that were supposed to be there. The parts Ace had written to be layered, the parts that tribute bands never had enough guitarists to cover. Marcus turned his head slightly. Saw the older guy from backstage. Guitar plugged in. Playing. And in that moment, something in Marcus's brain made the connection. The hair. The face. The way he held the guitar. The way his fingers moved across the fretboard like they'd made that exact journey 10,000 times. Marcus's hands kept playing, muscle memory taking over. But his mind was screaming, that's Ace Frehley. That's actually Ace Frehley. Away from the spotlight, Ace made a choice no one expected. The bass player saw it next. His eyes went wide behind the makeup. He looked at the drummer. The drummer's sticks faltered for exactly 1 beat before recovering. The Paul Stanley guy turned around. Froze. His mouth opened behind the makeup but no words came out. And the crowd, the 100 people who'd stayed for the third set on a Tuesday night in February, slowly began to understand what they were seeing. Someone in the third row said it first. Holy shit, that's Ace. Then someone else. That's actually him. Then the whole room. The murmur grew. People pulling out phones. People standing up. People moving closer to the stage, needing to see if this was real. Ace didn't acknowledge any of it. He just played. His eyes closed sometimes. His fingers finding notes that Marcus's tribute band Les Paul copy couldn't quite reach. Not because of the guitar, but because of the 45 years of history embedded in every bend, every sustain. Marcus had stopped playing completely now. He'd lowered his guitar slightly, just watching Ace finish Fractured Mirror, the way it was meant to be played. The way only the person who wrote it could play it. The final note rang out. Sustained. Faded into silence. The venue exploded. Not polite tribute band applause. Real applause. Screaming. People on their feet. The kind of reaction that shakes the walls. Ace opened his eyes. Looked at Marcus. No smile. No showmanship. Just a small nod. Marcus, still in full Spaceman makeup, playing the role of Ace Frehley, stood 3 feet from the actual Ace Frehley, and had no idea what to say. Ace spoke first. "You play it well," he said quietly, loud enough only for Marcus to hear over the crowd noise. "You've got the notes right." "I thank you. I've studied." "I know," Ace interrupted gently. "I could hear it. You know the parts. But you don't need to play them like me. Play them like you." Marcus blinked behind the makeup. "But I'm supposed to be you." Ace smiled slightly. "Nobody's supposed to be me. Not even me half the time." He adjusted his guitar strap. "You want to do another one?" The Paul Stanley guy had recovered enough to speak. He stepped toward Ace, extended his hand. "Mr. Frehley, we're honored. We'd be honored if you—" "Just Ace," Ace said, shaking his hand. "And yeah, let's do one more. You know cold gin?" "Of course." "Good. Let's do it right." What followed silenced everyone in the room. They played Cold Gin, the tribute band, and Ace Frehley. And for 4 minutes and 32 seconds, it stopped being a tribute show. Marcus played rhythm. Ace took the lead. And the difference was audible to everyone in the room. Not because Ace played it better or faster or more technically perfect, but because he played it like someone who'd lived inside that song for 47 years. Who'd played it drunk and sober and exhausted and energized and in front of 5 people and 50,000 people. He played it like someone who didn't need to prove anything to anyone. The crowd was absolutely silent during the solo. Not the silence of boredom, but the silence of witnessing. Every person in that room understanding they were seeing something they'd tell people about for the rest of their lives. When the song ended, Ace unplugged his guitar. Nodded to the band. Started to walk off stage. "Wait!" Marcus called out. Can I? Ace stopped. Turned back. "Can I get a picture?" Marcus asked, and his voice cracked slightly. The kid who'd spent 6 years wearing Spaceman makeup, studying every note, every solo, every move. Suddenly just a musician standing in front of his hero. Ace looked at him for a long moment. Then he shook his head. The crowd went quiet again. Marcus's face fell. "Take the makeup off first," Ace said. "I want to see you. Not the costume." Marcus stood frozen for a second. Then he reached up and started wiping off the silver and black paint with a towel. His hands were shaking. It took almost a minute. The crowd waited. Nobody moved. When Marcus's actual face was visible. Asian kid, late 20s, earnest eyes, Ace stepped forward and put his arm around his shoulder. "Now," Ace said to someone in the front row holding up a phone. "Now take the picture." The flash went off. The crowd erupted again. Ace handed Marcus a guitar pick. Just placed it in his palm. Didn't say anything. Just nodded once and walked off stage. Marcus stood there holding the pick, his real face visible for the first time that night, tears running down his cheeks, while 100 people screamed and the rest of his band stood in stunned silence. Ace was gone before anyone could follow him. Out the back door. Into his car. Home. He didn't do interviews about it. Didn't mention it on social media. Didn't acknowledge it happened. But the video went viral within hours. Ace Frehley's surprise appearance, Stone Pony Annex. 11 million views in 3 days. Share and subscribe. Some stories deserve to be remembered. Marcus Chen quit the tribute band 2 months later. Not because he lost faith. Because Ace had given him permission to find his own voice. He started writing his own music. His own solos. Being Marcus Chen instead of being a copy of someone else. The guitar pick Ace handed him that night stayed in a frame above his workbench. Next to it, he'd written the words Ace had said. "Play them like you." Ace never mentioned the night publicly. Never posted about it. Never sought credit. That wasn't why he'd shown up. He'd shown up because he saw a kid doing the work. And sometimes the work deserves to be witnessed. Share and subscribe. Some stories deserve to be remembered. The video of that night has 17 million views now. The comments are always the same. This is what legends do. He didn't need to do this. Look at Marcus's face when he realizes. But the real story isn't in the video. It's in what happened after. Marcus plays his own music now. Sold out clubs. His own sound. His own legacy. And when people ask him about that night, he always says the same thing. Ace Frehley taught me that the highest form of respect isn't imitation. It's finding your own voice. The guitar pick never leaves the frame.